class. Welcome to our new chapter of social science, that is recording and spreading knowledge. In this particular chapter, we will be looking how we record and spread knowledge. In previous chapter of communication, we saw that messages can be sent in two different ways. One by speaking and the second way was by writing. So first of all, we'll see what is writing. Writing is the way of recording or storing words or ideas which people can read at any time and at any place. Earlier, the early man did not know how to communicate through speaking or writing because no languages was developed at that time. In India, in ancient time, knowledge was passed orally from generation to generation. It was not recorded in written form, because of which knowledge was communicated to very few people and it cannot be stored. As you can see in the picture, a man was sitting in the middle and few people are sitting surrounded him. That man is sharing knowledge and giving information, and others are listening. As you can see, they don't have any paper, any pen or any pencil to record any knowledge. This also have resulted in the loss of the knowledge. So slowly, better methods of recording and spreading knowledge came into existence. So we will see development in the field of writing. Earlier form of writing was pictures. These pictures mainly includes pictures of animals which the early man used to draw on the wall of the cave where they used to live. One example I show you here, the Bhimbedka of Madhya Pradesh, which was one of the cave painting drawn more than 10,000 years ago. But drawing of pictures took long time, so gradually pictures were replaced by signs and symbols. The Sumerians of Mesopotamia, that is present Iraq, were the first to develop the system to writing which was called as script. These writings were written on the clay blocks that was called tablets. It was known as cuneiform script. As you can see in the picture, the sign and symbols here. Then later, the Sumerians developed a script called Hieroglyphs, using pictures and symbols together around 5,000 years ago. Later, Chinese and Japanese also developed a script which contained both pictures as well as symbols. They still use this type of writings. What about our country? In India, the older script was Indus Valley Civilization script, which was very difficult to read and no one was able to read till yet. Later, Pamni script was developed and most of the languages of India was derived from this script. Then Devanagari script was developed, which was used to write Hindi and other languages. Children, do you know the first proper alphabet system was used by Syria about 3,500 years ago, and you're surprised to know that today we have about 50 different alphabet systems in the whole world. Now, what about English language? Roman's alphabet system was used for writing English language. And as we know, that there were 26 letters in English language. Children, this is all about alphabet. What about numbers? Let's see development in the field of numbers. In ancient times, the early man used stick and stones and sometimes even pictures to record numbers. And they generally used this system to record the number of animals they killed or the number of people lived in their area. Later, the Romans developed a system of writing numbers which is used just 7 symbols to write numbers from 1 to 1 lakh. Today we use the Hindu-Arabic system from nearly 2000 years ago. This system used 10 symbols from 0 to 9 to represent any number, either it is small or large, as you can see in the picture. And we feel proud to know that this system was developed in our country. Even 0 was also developed in our country and decimal system too. Now, what about the paper? As we know, we will see the story of paper. This how paper developed. Ancient Egyptians used stem of a plant called papyrus to make paper in about 4000 years ago. As in the slide you can see the plant of paper. The modern paper which we are using today was made in China from barks of trees nearly 1900 years ago. The barks of trees was made into a pulp and then spread into the seeds and left to dry so that they could write on it. Today we use wood pulp to make paper. As you can see in the picture, they cut the stem of the papyrus tree and let it dry, and after that they used it for writing. Paper wood was derived from this papyrus wood. Paper was invented before printing. Earlier, books were written by hand on paper. So children, now we will see how invention of printing took place. You can imagine children, say a book of 50 pages, all handwritten, how long it would take to complete. So this explains why it was very slow and laborious process and why books are so rare and only few people can afford it. When printing was invented, it brought a revolution in the field of writing. It was first developed in China about 2000 years ago. And earlier, they carved wooden blocks and printed blocks printing, as you can see in the picture. First picture is about that. Later in the year 1450, Johannes Gutenberg of Germany brought revolution in the field of printing. What he has done? He made several metal wood molds of alphabets. They were called as types. They could be arranged to form words, lines, and pages. This was called as typesetting. This typesetting, now this was lot more easier and faster when compared to the block making. Once the type was inked and applied and pressed to paper, several copies of books could be made, and once several copies of book could be printed, they were easily available to lots of people, and it is cheaper and more people start buying it and start reading it. So reading also developed in this time. Now when we say reading, then only people who can see can read. To help even the blind can get knowledge, a person developed a script for blind. That is, we will see this Braille system. This is called Braille system. This is the special script allow a blind person to read a book by running his fingers on it. As you can see in the picture, the letters of each words are printed in the pattern of small dots, which were raised on the surface so that visually challenged people can feel this pattern with their fingers and they can read. Braille is read by running their fingers along the dots. And this script was developed by a French man named Louis Braille. Children, after going through the whole chapter, we conclude that if a country wants to make progress, it is important for the knowledge to spread to large number of people. This is possible only if the people of the country can read and write. Unfortunately, in India, a large number of people cannot read or write. So, as we know, literacy is the key to success. So, we have to literate, we have to gain knowledge to develop ourselves and also to develop our country. Thank you, children. Have a nice day. We'll meet in the next video.